Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, morning, or midday, depending on where you are. Thanks for giving us your time today to learn a little bit more about El Otro Lado in Bahia Portobelo and Panama. My name is Kirsten Gardner. I am the Central America Portfolio Director with Clark Catola Representation and Sales Support. And I'm being joined today by Diosa Marie Lore, who is the Director of Sales and Marketing for El Otro Lado. This is being recorded, so you're all going to get a copy of the recording afterwards. So if you have to take a call or step out, don't worry, you'll get all the information later. I also am not going to be pausing for questions to keep things rolling and to only take up 30 minutes of your time. If you have a question, there is a chat feature at the bottom of your screen. You can input your question there. I'm going to save those for the end, and then afterwards, I'm going to completely answer all of the questions with an answer format and send all registered attendees a document so that everyone sees what the questions are, everyone has the answers, and you'll get a follow-up with complete sales and marketing material. So to introduce you to this magical place before we get rolling, I think the best way is to watch a short video that really highlights the history, the people, the nature, and the culture that's found in this little slice of Caribbean Panama. And now for the next couple slides, I'm going to turn things over to Diosa. Like I said, she's the Director of Sales and Marketing for El Otro Lado. If you worked with the property before, you may remember her. She was there for 5 years, and then she went back to Panama City, and she divides her time between Portobelo and El Otro Lado, and she's also the Director of Marketing and Sales for La Concordia, a boutique property in Panama City's Casco Viejo. Diosa, go ahead whenever you're ready.
Hello, everyone. My name is Diosa Maris Lore. You can call me Diosa, it's easier. Thank you for your time and lovely to virtually meet you. So I want to share with you a bit of Panama, Portobelo, and then El Otro Lado. I don't know how much you know about the country, but Panama is a very small country with a lot of diversity. And we have been a transit country way before the Panama Canal. Everyone's recognized Panama for the Panama Canal. But back in the Spanish Inquisition, in the Spanish conquest, Panama was the safest. Panama was the place that the Spanish thought was the safest to storage all the gold before taking it back to Spain, to Sevilla. So we have been part of the map way before the Panama Canal. So imagine that the Spaniard crown came to Latin America, discovered Panama, and then they brought the African, and then the French came to build the Panama Canal, and they brought the Caribbean, and then the US came and finished the Panama Canal project. So if you actually go to the Pacific side of Panama, you will find a lot of French and Spanish influence. If you go to the Caribbean side of Panama, you will find all the African influence and send indigenous community, and that is Panama. Panama, you can go from one extreme to another in just 2 hours. And to explain a little bit about it, if you go to the border with Costa Rica, we have from coffee plantations to bird watching. If you go to Panama City, we have the skyline, and we have the old quarter or Casco Viejo, which represent the Spanish influence. And on the Pacific side, you also have a representation of the Spanish French influence with the traditional dress, and then you go to the Caribbean, and you have the Afro-descendant influence. So basically, that is Panama, and you can go through the country. Basically, you can go from the Pacific to the Caribbean in just 1 hour. As I mentioned before, in Panama, we have 7 indigenous communities. We have the Afro-descendant culture. We have the Spanish and the French influence as well. And we are like a melting pot of culture, people, places, nature, and that's what makes Panama unique. And then we go to Portobelo. Portobelo is within the Colón province. It's an hour and 20 minutes away from Panama City. And as I mentioned before, Portobelo was the place in which the Spaniard crowd thought that they could storage all the gold that they were taking from the rest of Latin America before taking it back to Sevilla, to Spain. And they built a custom house in which they storage all the jewelries and the gold and the treasures. And they built 3 forts around the custom house in order to preserve and protect it from the pirates. You can actually walk through those grounds today. This is the start of the history of Portobelo. The Spaniard crown, they bring the Africans in order for them to help them or assist them, to say it nicely, to construct all the custom house and to do the labor work for them. And this is why in Portobelo you have this very marked Afro-descendant culture that is totally different from what you can see of the rest of Panama. We call it the Congo culture, and it's a mixture of the Catholicism imposed by the Spanish crown and the religious and the culture that the African brought from their own country. And this is why in Portobelo you see this amount of art and music and colors and all those things that make the town very unique. It's a very small town with very marked traditions and culture, and they're extremely proud of them. So this is why we as El Otro Lado, as the property, we always encourage our guests to go and visit and be part and understand what Portobelo and the Congo culture is all about. I'm going to talk a little bit about the family that owns the project and the property. Miss Sandra Eleta, that is the one with the camera in the picture. She actually was the first white woman that moved to Portobelo 40, 50 years ago. She was the one who discovered all the art, all the people, all the talents. And it's amazing for me as a Panamanian to see how such a small town have such an amazing, talented people. You have from dancers to painters to carpenters, singers. Everyone has an amazing talent. And she actually was the first ones who exposed the Congo art to the world. She was the one who organized the first exposition in the US, and then in London, and then in Madrid. She brings her cousin, that is Miss Aurora, that fell in love with the place 30 years ago. Exactly, Miss Aurora, 30 years ago. And they just fell in love with Portobelo. But they realized that the town and people needed help in certain aspects of their livelihood. And they created the nonprofit. The first thing that they created on Portobelo was the nonprofit foundation called Bahia Portobelo. This nonprofit has 3 branches, one dedicated to painting and painters and art, one dedicated to music, and one dedicated to microloans. And that was the first thing that they did Portobelo. The music school is amazing. This music school, we have students that has been that have won scholarships to go to Berkeley Music School in Boston. That's how talented they are. At the beginning, we started with 10 students. Right now, we actually give free classes to 80 students per year. And they go from music classes to special music projects to dancing to other parts of art and musicians. Then we have the painters and the painting part of the nonprofit. This goes from having a space in which they can display their work and using the trade fair commerce. This means that what the final client pays for the work goes directly to the artist, and we also expose their art throughout the property. one of the most exemplary stories of that. He actually came, he's a Portobelloan. He was born and raised in Portobello. He has always been an entrepreneur. He contacted the nonprofit first, and he asked for a microloan in order to build a gym, to open a gym on Portobello town. And he did that for 2 or 3 years. And then he started, he came back to his artistic root and started working on his art again. And now he's in charge of the workshop that we have on property. And he's in charge of most of the arts and everything, that the paintings and the mask and the bridges and everything you see made out of wood on property. And he also is responsible for a part of the activities that we do on site. And then we have the music school, and we have the part that is focused on rescuing and preserving the culture. Actually, the Congo culture was named last year an intangible heritage UNESCO patrimony, and it's the culture. And then Portobello as nature, it's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site.
All right. Thank you so much, Diosa, for that great introduction. And just to reorient everyone, if you haven't been to Panama, we're looking at the Caribbean side here. This is Portobello. That's where El Otro Lado is located. If you go over to the Pacific side to Panama City, that's where the international airport is. That's where clients would arrive. Driving by car from the international airport to Portobello takes about 90 minutes. But there's also a lot of other ways to get to Panama or get to El Otro Lado. You could, of course, take a Panama Canal cruise. You can take the Panama Canal Railway. That's a 1-hour journey that terminates in Colón. It runs Monday through Friday. Not a luxury train, but really fun for train buffs. You're along the canal and through the rainforest. You get a really close-up view of that. You could take a helicopter ride, which is about 30 minutes. That'd be something you'd want to arrange through a DMC. And there's a lot of touring you can do en route. You can go into the up the Chagres River. You can go into Gatun Lake, the Gamboa Rainforest, see the Embera community. So you can make a whole day out of this to experience kind of life in the canal zone beyond Panama City and end your day at El Otro Lado. Like I said, 90 minutes by car. What I'm trying to convey, the goal of this presentation is really to show you the incredible diversity of experiences you can have in this property. It's perfectly situated for nature, adventure, water activities, diving into the history and culture of Portobello that Diosa explains so well, connecting with the social and community projects of Bahia Portobelo Foundation. And it is a Virtuoso property. It's one of only a few Virtuoso preferred hotels in Panama. So that's a good thing to note for any Virtuoso advisors in attendance. Like Diosa said, Portobello is incredibly small. You can do a walking tour, a cultural tour of the town in about 30 to 45 minutes, and you should. To get to El Otro Lado, depending on how your guests arrive, they're going to drive through town. They're going to circle around the customs house that Diosa pointed out, which is currently being restored. They just got a grant to redo the roof. And they're going to arrive at this little dock that's near Casa Congo. Casa Congo houses an art gallery, it's classrooms, and a little restaurant. It's not gourmet food, but it's very good local Caribbean food. We definitely encourage guests to go over and spend some time in town with the people. And then right here, they'll board a little boat. This is a good example of what that looks like. And it's just a 15-minute, very gentle, easy trip across Bahia Portobello. Bahia Portobello got its name supposedly from Christopher Columbus in the early 1500s when he arrived in the area. And I love this shot because I think it really captures the wealth and diversity of what you can do in this area. Portobello town is right here. So that's like your little cultural mecca. It's a 15-minute boat ride to El Otro Lado, which is right here across the bay, absolutely surrounded by Portobello National Park, which is a rainforest. There's a lake, the barrage, which dates back to the time of the canal zone. Wonderful place to kayak, to birdwatch, look for wildlife. Here's the Caribbean. If you take a boat and you go around kind of the left end of the isthmus, there's 3 different really undeveloped beaches with great reefs that you can explore. You have mangroves right here, so you're really well situated to have a number of different adventures and activities using Portobello and El Otro Lado as your base. Um, it was a private retreat. It was not built as a hotel. So there are some unique and really whimsical details about the property. Everything centers around this pool and the gazebo restaurant. It's more than a restaurant. This is your bar, your hangout space where they have games at night. Cultural performances take place here. Musical performances take place here. So it's really kind of the center of all activities and where guests get their meals. It's also an art gallery. There's incredible works of art from Congo artists, collections that Sandra and Aurora Eleta have established on their travels throughout the world, along with a number of original photographs from Sandra Eleta. She's probably Panama's, Diosa didn't mention this, but their best known photographer. Her work has been displayed in the MoMA, in the Guggenheim, and there's original works of hers all throughout the property capturing the people of Portobello. Also, excellent pool, great place to relax in the hammocks or take a floaty or lounge on the sun deck and watch the sailboats go by. So surrounding the pool, you have 3 standalone casitas, the Forest, Sea House, and Sun House. These are almost identical in size. Then the layouts for each one are found on our website. They each have a fixed king bed, a beautiful spacious living room, an outdoor terrace, and a private ensuite bathroom. And they're between 65 and 80 square meters. The largest of them, the Sun House, can actually accommodate a 3rd child in an extra bed. And then the Forest and Sea House are for 2 adults in a fixed king bed. And they really, they have some kind of cool, unique elements that try to connect you with the place. There's the beautiful colors that, reflect the Caribbean culture, the Congo art. They each have an individual special scent that's programmed when you walk in, really fresh smells from flowers that grow on the grounds. There's a curated music station that's playing that's all Panamanian and Latin music. So really everything about El Otro Lado is designed to connect you with the soul and spirit of the Afro-Caribbean culture here. And then we also have the Spirit House. This is right along the water. This is a 2-bedroom villa. It's wonderful for 2 couples or for 2 small families. Each of the bedrooms is almost identical in terms of layout. They each have a fixed king bed, but each can also accommodate 1 additional bed. So you could house 2 families with 2 adults and 1 child in this 1 intact unit. Then they have their own private veranda along the water and this really fun, colorful living room to share. Up on the hill above El Otro Lado, above the gazebo and those casitas, we have Casa Grande. So Casa Grande was actually the residence that Aurora Eleta first built for herself. It's modeled after the Customs House in Portobello, so it has these beautiful hand-carved pillars, each from a single tree. All of the architectural details have been, carefully preserved here. And you have this gorgeous, it's an indoor-outdoor living space. So you have an indoor air-conditioned bedrooms and living room. And I forgot to mention this, but all of the casitas and the gazebo, all of them have air conditioning inside, so you can certainly escape the Panamanian heat in the middle of the day. But then Casa Grande has this great wraparound veranda on the top floor where there's hammocks. You have wonderful views overlooking Portobello Bay. Downstairs, there's an open-air kitchen, wonderful for demonstration cooking classes. And then there's 3 bedrooms, 3 ensuite bedrooms on the top floor. 2 of them have loft rooms, which make them really great for families. So you have a king bed or 2 queen beds downstairs. And then upstairs, you have this little attic room that's perfect for 2 kids or 2 teenagers. You can sell these suites individually. Clark and his family just stayed in one of them pretty close to the Easter holiday. They had a wonderful family vacation in Panama. Or you can book out Casa Grande for a complete group. I believe it can take up to 6 adults and 4 children. So it's a nice kind of private villa rental experience. It includes all the meals, it includes the activities. Meals are served either in the gazebo restaurant, or if clients want all of their meals served privately up in Casa Grande, that's no problem. And for an additional supplement, you could add, 24-hour staff, a private chef, any number of really cool experiences for a family group or a group of friends. Okay, so digging into the experiences here. Previously, El Otro Lado had just B&B rates. And more recently, the new El Otro Lado experience rates that we're talking about now include full board, all meals, use of this wonderful little rustic beach club that they've developed in Puerto Francés, on-site hikes both to the forts and through the rainforest around the property, use of a lot of water toys. And over the next 10 minutes, I'm going to try to break down for you what is included in that rate, what is included in the food, the B&B rate, which you can also book. That's an option too. And then how to sort of combine activities and experiences to build a really custom and cool trip for your clients, depending on if they're a family, if they are an adventurous and active couple, if they're a couple on a honeymoon who wants more of a romantic experience. There's really something for everyone here. A few of these I'm going to go through very quickly and then send them to everyone in attendance as a link. This is the public rate document. Very clearly it shows what the rates are during the different seasons. We're in green season right now, so there's awesome savings for clients who are traveling between now and November. And then it shows you what's included in the bed and breakfast rate versus what is included in the full board rate, which is meals and activities. So you can see what a great value this is for clients. And these rates are for double occupancy. There's also a wonderful new activities book that El Otro Lado has developed. I'm going to send everyone a link to that. And what that goes through is a description and then a price for adding on these different experiences, if they're water activities, if they're hikes, if they're cultural trips, either to town or activities with Portobello Workshop. I'm going to send that as well, so everyone has. It's a 7-page document. It's way too much to go through here, but it's a really good resource for you when talking with your clients about this property. Puerto Francés, this is where the rustic beach club is. This is a complimentary activity that's for everybody. It's offered every day. They send a crew ahead to set up this little casual drink station with some snacks. You can see there's reef here, so they send snorkeling equipment, so it's great for kids. It's protected, so the waves aren't too big, and this is only a 15-minute boat ride from El Otro Lado. And then there's hammocks, there's lounge chairs, there's a little bit of sandy beach to play on. It's a great, El Otro Lado does not have a beach right on property, but with this available to your clients every day, it's a really great value add for people who want the cultural experience of Portobello, but maybe previously they were turned off by not having a beach. Now you can direct them to the Rustic Beach Club. And then there's an abundance of water activities listed on that sheet. Some are included in the El Otro Lado experience rate. Some are always an additional cost, things like scuba diving or artisanal fishing. If El Otro Lado is working with an outside provider, that's going to be an additional cost, but you can build that into an itinerary and book it for your clients. I don't know if you guys recognize the kids at the bottom. This is Clark's oldest son, and that's his wife, Jackie. He was absolutely shredding it on the wakeboard there. So there's wakeboarding, banana boating, deep dive boarding, which is something you do underwater, holding a contraption that allows you to kind of go snorkel quite a bit deeper, fishing, kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding. They have such a water skiing, such a wealth of experiences and really fun kind of adventurous adrenaline activities that people can do right in the bay. On property, they've developed a couple different hikes too of various lengths, from 45-minute sort of easier strolls on a path that surrounds that barrage lake. It's through the rainforest. These happen in the early morning before it gets too warm, to a 1-hour power hike to the top of this fort that's right next to El Otro Lado. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Get up in the morning with your guide. You hike uphill for 45 minutes, and you enjoy a cool drink and the amazing views over Portobello Bay. These are complimentary, and guests are welcome to go on their own at any time. The paths are well marked, so even guests that are staying on the B&B rate, they don't have access to the guide, but they have access to exploring these experiences on their own. Then there's a couple of different special experiences in the next category. Some of these are included in the El Otro Lado experience rate. The mojitos and picantes class, where even for little kids, you can make a non-alcoholic mojito with local ingredients and then make the local hot sauce. It's a way of connecting people with those Caribbean flavors. Cultural walking tours through town. Again, that's something that is included for everyone on the El Otro Lado experience rate. Meeting with some of these locals, learning their stories, learning about the Congo culture in their homes. Private dinners on the barrage in this beautiful little deck overlooking the lake. That can be set up for an additional cost for, a special, especially for honeymooners or people celebrating an event, a birthday or special event. That's a great way to commemorate it. And then sunset boat tours through the mangroves in La Ferrona, accompanied by champagne or wine. You can also go kayaking and take stand-up paddle boards through the mangroves to go bird watching, depending on how active your clients are. Probably the coolest thing is, personally, is these workshops that your clients can participate in that connect them with this special local Congo art style and musical style. And it's not just showing and telling, it's having them doing. You see Anel here, he's head of the art and the wood carving workshop on site. He holds these art classes. He teaches kids and adults about the style of Congo art, has them make their own pieces. These are Clark's kids down here. I think Carter called his piece Sunny Side Up. It looks like eggs, but he was super proud of it. He was, holding on to it the entire trip. This is one of the percussion workshops they have. Those can happen in town, or they can happen on site at El Otro Lado, or they can happen in the Little Rhythm School, which is the school in town that kids go to learn drumming. And it's an awesome way for kids to connect with locals in a way that doesn't feel forced. It doesn't feel staged. I mean, who doesn't like getting in a drum circle and making some noise? And these aren't just for adults, these aren't just for kids. Adults very much enjoy them too. Here, Anel is with a group of women that was celebrating a birthday, learning kind of a more refined version of the Congo art style. These are an additional cost. I think they're $200 each for a group of four. The details are in the activity sheet, but know that this money is going directly to the Bahia Portobelo Foundation. El Otro Lado isn't profiting off it, so that's something you should share with your clients. By booking one of these experiences, you're actually benefiting the local people. And then the other thing that is sort of a must-do while at El Otro Lado is these Congo art and cultural performances. These do happen regularly at no additional cost to guests, particularly during the high season on like a Friday or Saturday night. They'll bring the local performers and schools over to do a drumming and dance performance where they act out the history of the Congo people. And they're very interactive. Kids and adults are invited to participate, to really share in the experience, to dance, to play the drums. You can also book these privately. If you want to celebrate a special event, we've had, private birthday celebrations with a performance. Again, this is through the Bahia Portobelo Foundation, so it's more of a donation that goes to supporting the organization than any money that the hotel collects. And then going further afield, working with a DMC or a local tour operator, you're so close to so many of the kind of wonders and highlights of Panama. Certainly the Embera communities, I think on this side of Panama, a little bit further from Panama City, make better, more real and authentic cultural visits. And there's a number of different communities you can visit from El Otro Lado. The Aguas Claras locks, the new lock expansion, is like 30 minutes from El Otro Lado. And for me personally, I prefer this over Miraflores. It sees a fraction of the visitors. You have the amazing views over Gatun Lake, and you realize just how much was flooded, since you have this like rainforest lake that makes up part of the canal. So that's a great experience. And then the San Blas Islands, working with the DMC, you could arrange a day trip for clients, taking a helicopter over to do a day of like cultural immersion, snorkeling, beach picnics. Working with a private catamaran charter, you could do longer live aboard overnight trips and kind of use El Otro Lado as your jumping off point. So there's a lot that you can build into a longer itinerary. Some examples I have here, pulling from that activity sheet, is comparing a family experience with maybe someone who wants to focus on nature and adventure. You're going to have this slide, so I'm not going to read it to you verbatim, but these are, a 3-night, 4-day trip taking place at El Otro Lado, mixing in some of the included experiences with a few added excursions that cater to the individual interests. So you can really custom craft an itinerary that fits your client's interests. And then this is sort of a cheat sheet for the back end. This would not be client facing, but I'm going to send it to everyone that's registered, and it breaks down it's a 2-page sheet. I only have 1 page here. It breaks down all of the activities that are available at El Otro Lado, what is included in the El Otro Lado experience rate versus what is included in the B&B rate, how much these cost for how many people, and then how often they occur, and if it's something that you definitely need to book and schedule in advance, or if it's something that your clients could book on their own once they get to the property. It is important to know that the activities rate booklet that I'm going to send you, that 7-page document, your clients do have access to that at El Otro Lado. And at the moment, those rates are not commissionable. That might be something that we're able to work on in the future, but especially for like the cultural performances and the art workshops, that's a flat rate that the hotel just passes along to the nonprofit. So if you are building an experience for your clients, like a complete 4-day package, and you want to make commission on these additional experiences, you'd need to add that on yourself. And then you can prepay El Otro Lado for everything. Alternately, you can book the rooms, the room rate, and the experience rate, send your client the list of additional activities, and then have them set it up directly with the hotel or set it up for them, and then they just pay the hotel directly. So there's a couple ways that you can work around this. And then a quick overview of Panama and El Otro Lado, the Caribbean side in particular, when to go. I think everyone probably knows that the dry season is December through mid-April. This is the most popular time to visit Panama. It's also when a lot of the cultural performances in Portobelo are taking place. The Congos and Diablos and the Pollera Congo Festival, they happen, not biannually, but they switch festivals every other year. But these are usually in late April. That's an amazing time to be there, a really raw and authentic experience in town, celebrating with all the people. Green season is April through September. That's when you're probably going to have a sunnier morning and then rain showers in the afternoon into the evening. But probably at least half your day, you're going to be able to, get up early, enjoy an excursion without any rain. And then October and November is when it rains quite a bit more. For anyone going in October, though, there's a really cool local festival called the Cristo Negro. It's a religious festival that takes place only in Portobelo. Tens of thousands of people, if you can imagine it, descend upon the town to revere and worship this one Black Christ statue. And that's a really interesting experience. You're close to the equator, so temperatures pretty much in the mid-80s year-round. And then rates start at $740 per night for inclusive double occupancy. Again, all of these details are found on that sheet I'm going to follow up and send later. And then for anyone who participated in this webinar and you want to come see El Otro Lado yourself, please do. They've graciously extended a rate of 50% discount for anyone in the travel industry and their +1, be that a friend, a partner or spouse or a child, to come for a 2-night stay from now until the end of November. It includes your breakfast, rustic beach club, property hikes, use of kayaks, sups, and paddle boards, experiences, and then additional meals would be a supplement. But if you're interested in that, you can contact me, or you can also contact Diosa with any questions. And then how to book El Otro Lado. Through your DMC and tour operator is going to be the best way. If you are putting together a tour through Panama, it's really going to be in your best interest to partner with a knowledgeable DMC or a tour operator that can ensure a seamless experience throughout, with great guides in the city, excellent transfer options. If you want to go up to Boquete, go to the Gulf of Chiriquí and go to our other property, Isla Palenque, do some things in the Highlands, go over to Bocas. It's really great to work with a DMC for any of that. For shorter stays, if you have clients that just want to, do like 3 nights at El Otro Lado, 1 or 2 nights at Panama City, you can consider booking that directly. Diosa's email is here, or you can contact Duvia at reserve@elotrolado.com. You can contact me, Kirsten, for any questions about the property. I've been there, I think I'm going for the 5th time next month with a fam group, and I absolutely love it. I just think Panama is super, super special in Central America because of all those things Diosa highlighted, the diversity, how quickly you can get from one different ecosystem to another. It's really there's great infrastructure, amazing indigenous groups, beautiful nature. All marketing materials are found on our website, clarkatola.com. And I'm going to follow up shortly with questions. I'm going to leave this up for a little bit, so if I didn't cover something or if you have a question, please enter it into the chat feature. And I'm going to take this down after about 5 minutes, and I'll follow up later today with the recording, the marketing materials, and then answers to your questions. So thank you so very much for your time. I hope this was useful, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. And thank you, Diosa, for joining us.
Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you all of you for joining us and learn a little bit more about Panama and Portobelo. El Otro Lado, for me, like what we feel, the passion that we have towards this project is that it's a cultural experience. It goes beyond a beautiful property with amazing amenities. It's the history, it's the people, it's the art, the vibe that create the magic throughout Portobelo. And that's what we want to share with your clients.
Great. All right. Well, I hope everyone has a good rest of their Tuesday. Keep the questions going. And again, we really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.